Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We'll now start with the post-match press conference with the South Africa coach Rassie Erasmus and captain Siya Kolisi. Straight away, opening the floor for questions. Please raise of hands. Start there on the right. Thank you.
Rassie, I mean, how happy were you with that performance tonight? Could hardly have gone better the first half, certainly.
About the first half? Yeah, sorry, this is a bit loud, yeah, sorry. Yeah, I think the first half was obviously nice and clinical, especially if you look at previous teams that played in this specific stadium with the humidity and the way the ball after 20 minutes normally gets a bit slippery. I thought we were nice and clinical and decisive, and I thought that's what we asked from the players. So, especially with a bunch of guys that hasn't played a lot the last 4 or 5 weeks, I thought that was really well done, and only conceding 1 penalty in the first half. Obviously, then the second half started off really bad in a way that we conceded 5 penalties in the first 5 minutes. So, overall, I thought a solid performance, especially in the first half.
Rassie, a lot of back scoring in the first half. I think all the tries were backs. Was that something that you targeted, or it just happened because it was a big forward display against Italy? Did you want to give the backs a good run today?
It was really not something that we planned, to be honest with you. I think obviously every week we do our analysis on all the teams that we play against, and we treated Canada with exactly the same respect that we treated Namibia and all the other teams. For us to be grouped in the same pool as New Zealand, we knew that all 3 of the other pool games would be really important. So even before we got to the World Cup, we did all the homework with all the different teams, and we just thought where we could target Canada would be in the areas that we did. And obviously, because I know Kingsley really well, I coached a lot against him when he coached the Dragons. They got a certain style of playing and defending. And yeah, I thought the way our backs exploited maybe the space they did give us was good, but I wouldn't say we planned on just scoring with the backs. I actually thought our forwards weren't as dominant as we were maybe against Namibia and Italy. So yes, well done to the backs, but that wasn't something that we said, okay, backs, you score more tries than the forwards in this game.
Rassie, you mentioned the backs, now you mentioned the forwards. A guy like Ergie Snyman tonight, he ran like a centre and he offloaded like a back, or like a Sonny Bill Williams. Just your thoughts on his performance?
No, he played well, and I guess it's one must always see everything in context. The stiffer the opposition is, the less time you get for decision making, the higher the pressure is, the higher the stakes is. So it's always, in a game like this, especially with a team who gets a red card against you, they can't have the same line speed. They've got a forward down because they're 14 men. So I don't want to take anything away from Ergie because he was phenomenal. He was fantastic. I thought he made great decisions. He didn't always look for the offload. He sometimes just carried really hard, which was really hard before he tried for the offload. So I thought he had a nice balance in his game. But, then again, we can't look at this specific game against Canada and say, the moment you go into quarterfinal mode, so you play against New Zealand, England, the pressure and the decision-making and the timing is totally different in a game like we played tonight. So, yes, he was fantastic, and that's why he's always been in the mix in the A side, if we can call it that way. And it was good to get him through an 80-minute shift today. I thought he contested well in the line-out, he scrummed well, he mauled well. So, yes, he had a good performance.
Rassie, just a word on Kobus Reinach scoring a hat-trick, and also did anybody really push the case for spot in the A team?
Kobus obviously, I think everybody knows his X factor. I mean, I knew his dad well, and we all know the moment he sniffs some space, he's got exceptional speed, and he's a guy that didn't get a lot of game time so far with us, especially since I've been the coach. He's never been in the mix, just in the World Cup, even in the build-up to the World Cup. He wasn't part of the test matches in the Rugby Championship. So he's a guy that, when he gets space and speed and he's got good anticipation, he's away. And I think it's the fastest hat-trick probably that I've seen at a World Cup. I'm not sure if it is, but it was pretty fast. And yes, he's very opportunistic. So we're fortunate to have three quality nines like that, and I'm glad he did well. And I think between him, Faf, and Herschel, we've spread the workload really nicely now, and luckily there's no injuries currently with them. And then your second question in terms of the guys put up their hand, I think out of the squad of 31, currently we don't have a player that will not be available for the playoffs. We've got a clean bill of health, so that's nice. But we'll go and look at this game and look at the individual things and see who are our quarterfinal opponents. Because, you know, if it's Japan, they bring a different game. If it's Ireland, they bring a different game. The one is aerial, the one is phases, the one is nice, speedy, fast guys, the other one is forward dominant. So, and if it's Scotland, can still be one of those teams. So it's difficult to say, yes, this guy put up his hand, because the opponents will play a big role in how we will select our team.
Rassie, who do you prefer playing against in a quarters?
I think that question is so loaded. You know, if I say one thing, I'll be in trouble, and if I say another thing, I'll be in trouble. No, Hendrik, I know the Irish players so well, and I can tell you they are professional. They've been under pressure under pressure situations. They handle it well. I've seen them perform well in Six Nations when nobody gives them a chance. Joe is an excellent coach. I know the individual players well. One or two of them stayed in the same street where I stayed in Limerick for almost 2 years. So I know them individually really well, and I can tell you they'll be a big threat if we play against them. I'll be nervous if we play them. And I said a few weeks back when we played Japan, I really think Japan is a much bigger threat than people think they are. Because if you look at the way they played in the Pacific Cup, I think that's what they call that cup, they smashed teams like Fiji and teams like that. They just totally beat teams like USA and those guys comfortably. And they beat Ireland the other day comfortably. So they're really well coached, and they're good in these conditions, and they will have massive support. So if you have to pick between those two, I'm not quite sure who will be the easier bet. I really don't know. And then again, Scotland can still sneak in there. And now with the weather conditions or the typhoon that might be here this weekend, that even makes it more interesting. So we'll enjoy this next 2 days off, watch the weekend game for a lot of interest, do our homework, and then just buckle up and prepare as well as we can for the quarterfinals.
Just behind, and then we're in the middle, and then back to the front.
Rassie, is there anything you've learned from your players tonight that you were perhaps unaware of?
It was good to see France go another 80-minute and handling the pace and speed of Test match rugby, because I think sometimes it's tough to come from a French league. Although I always knew France had the talent and the desire and the competitiveness and those kind of things. It was good to get Siya through a proper 80 and playing the standard of rugby that I know he can play. That was a positive again. And then, you know, it was interesting when we had 4 flyers on the field, when it was Damien and France and Andre and Elton, how we spread the ball really wide under the same conditions, which was slippery. We could really move the ball around. Yes, I think we learned a lot. But again, the moment your decision-making gets cut down with quick line speed and pressure and quarterfinals, semi-finals, things change, you know. So there was some really nice, good things to see. I thought our lineouts again, I think we haven't lost the lineout ball so far in the World Cup. Again, with Skalk playing hooker this game. So I think we're in a good position when it comes to personnel. But from now on, it counts for nothing. You know, if you lose the next game, you're out of here. So we must prepare really well.
Here in the middle, just in the middle. There's a microphone on your left.
May I have a question in Japanese? Okay. 準々決勝まで10日間ぐらい期間が空くことについてのメリットはどう考えているかというのと、日本のチームがもう南アフリカと対戦する可能性もあって結構研究もしている的なことを言ってるんですけども、南アフリカも日本のことをこう対策したり研究したりしているようなこともあったりするんでしょうか。
Sorry, I only switched it over later to the English channel. I heard the first part in Japanese. Can you ask the can you ask the question again? So I only heard the second part. Sorry. So can you ask it again? Sorry. Sorry about that. My mistake.
すいません、準々決勝まで10日間、10 days 空くことのメリットと、あと、日本のことについて研究したりとか対策したりとかいうのを始めたりもしたりしてるんでしょうか。
Yes, we definitely do. We studied them before we came here. Of course, we played Japan, obviously, I think 4 weeks ago. Obviously, we studied them in depth. From tomorrow, we'll study Ireland, Scotland, and Japan. The players will be off tomorrow and the day after, and they'll get back on the horse on Friday, and then we'll start preparing physically and obviously analysis and share that with the players. But I remember clearly in 2011 we prepared for one specific team, which was actually Australia, and then we got Ireland or the other way around, for Ireland, and then we got Australia in the quarterfinal. So we won't make that same mistake. We'll prepare for all three teams from tonight. But the nice thing is that we did actually play Japan quite recently, so we'll put a lot of time in Japan, Ireland, and also obviously then Scotland. Yes, so we will do a lot of work in the next couple of days.
No.
Rassie, just looking at the try that Canada scored, were you disappointed to concede a try, and also from first phase ball like that? Obviously second phase after that first crash.
The one thing that Canada does do well, if I can say from the tier 2 nations that we play, they're probably the one team that has a lot of structure on attack. You can see a clear shape, which we've analysed with the players, where they get into a decent shape after a few phases. And when you get them a little bit of go forward, I think it was against Italy, they could have scored 3-4 tries where they knocked on the ball over the try line, the one lock. And so they're a decent team when they get go forward ball. So yes, it's disappointing to give a try away, but also on the other hand, that they deserved it. It's well worked, and they caught us off guard. So you can't always keep a team out. Sometimes it's just they worked it well. Jacques will be disappointed, and the players will be disappointed. But sometimes they just deserve it.
We've got time for one last question.
I could actually ask this of either of you. It's the gap, because you've got a big gap now, 12 days until the next game. And Siya did mention, I think it was yesterday, that sometimes when you come back from, like on Super Rugby, when you've had a bye, you're quite rusty afterwards. Is this an advantage for you to have this big gap, or is it a disadvantage? Because a lot of the other teams are still playing quite intense games this week that you might be playing against in the quarterfinal.
I will let's see. I also maybe answer the question, but from my point of view, Gavin, is that we will prepare, start on Friday and prepare for both teams and do analysis on both teams and watch the game together. Obviously, the games played this weekend. When you analyse those teams and watch the games, and then it's quite exciting to analyse teams and then watch the games together to see who you're eventually going to play. So I guess we'll make a little bit of a thing about it, to analyse them and then watch the games together. There's a little bit of excitement around it to do it that way. So I guess that will spice it up a little bit. And then from Monday we'll have a normal test match week. No, it's a little bit longer. But yes, we've been together for 16 weeks, together for 16 weeks. So I think we know how to handle each other and how to get past 4-week turnarounds, 10-day turnarounds, rugby championship. So we're quite used to each other and how to manage our time. So we'll be okay.
Yeah, no, I think we're very excited as a team. I think it gives us an extra week to prepare and obviously to watch the games. And coach had already, all the management and coaches had already started looking at the teams. So us as the players as well, so we'll be watching and we'll probably get some information and we see if we see the same pictures. And I think the thing about this competition, in Super Rugby, you've got another opportunity the next week. From now on for us, if you don't pitch up, you go home. So, and we keep each other accountable and honest at all times. So, but yeah, we're looking forward to watching the guys and see what we can prepare and what we can do for them next week.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That brings a close to the end of the South Africa post-match press conference. The mix zone will be opening shortly. Thank you, Rassie. Thank you, Siya. Thank you.